Okay, so I'd like to first of all welcome you to the first of hopefully many TeamKinetic Academy sessions. So the purpose of this is really to give you a bit more information on the kind of underused functions within TeamKinetic. So it's primarily kind of aimed at our current administrators, but I'm sure in the future, maybe even now, there's some people who haven't actually purchased our system, but maybe thinking about purchasing our system. So what I do is focus on every time I have one of these TeamKinetic Academy sessions, focus on maybe one or two functions and kind of go into them with a little bit more detail. And these are going to be the functions that I'm aware of through talking to yourselves and through doing training sessions, kind of areas that I know maybe a little bit hazy, people are not aware of. Now, obviously, when we started 9 years ago, the system was very simple, but over the last obviously, we've had more clients come on board. We've made the system more flexible, and it's become kind of all singing, all dancing, volunteer, cutting-edge volunteer management system. And along the way, that means there is a lot of new functions that have been added in there. Now, I'm aware that you've probably not got the time to read all of our update notes, which kind of detail all of ththese functions. So like I say, hopefully I'm going to go through. I've picked out a couple today. Hopefully I'll get through two. If not, we'll definitely get through the first one. Where I'm going to go through it and show you some examples, show you some scenarios, and I want you to really think about how it might be utilized within your organization. Now, if you have any questions, kind of during this, it's only half an hour, have any questions, then feel free to add them into the comments box, and I'll try and stop as and when I can, when it feels natural, and I'll go through some of those questions and try and answer them as best I can. Now, there is about a 15-second delay, so if you do put a question up, be aware that I can actually see it for at least 15 seconds, and then I might be in the middle of actually demoing something, so there might be a short delay there, but I will get round to as many questions, and hopefully all of those questions before the end of the session. So if I crack on, the first one I want to concentrate on is a function which is an update within our latest 7.3 version update, which is the ability to attach surveys to opportunities. So this is not these are not surveys which should be kind of aimed at gathering information about the system as a whole. These are surveys trying to get feedback from volunteers about particular opportunities, because we're attaching the survey to the opportunity. It's not a question we ask them during the registration process. It's when they go to log their hours for a particular opportunity. So keep that in mind. Now, the first one I want to go into, the first kind of scenario, is going to be a volunteer centre which just wants to collect feedback from the volunteers on how much they kind of enjoyed or what their experience was like on the particular opportunity. So I can imagine there's plenty of you out there which will find this useful. I can't think of an organisation this could not be used for, in all honesty. So I'm just going to quickly go through it now. So the first thing you need to do before you do anything else is obviously we need to create a survey. Now, there's plenty of systems you can create surveys in. I've chose probably the most common one of all, which is SurveyMonkey. So I'll click on Design Survey. Now it's straightforward. So we're asking for the volunteer's name, a bit of feedback on did they enjoy their experience, how easy did it find? Did you find it easy to get to your opportunity? So that's obviously accessibility. And then finally, probably the most important question: is there anything that which could have been done differently to enhance the experience? So this could probably be applied to pretty much any opportunity. So once you've created your opportunity, so I should say with SurveyMonkey, it is free to use. It doesn't cost you anything. Now there are kind of different levels, as all these things do have, different levels of kind of paying plans or pricing plans, but there is a free version there. So you can add logos, as I found out, but when I was preparing for this webinar, if you add a logo, and there's probably lots of other bits down the side, if you add them on there, once you get to the final section of actually creating the survey, it'll say, well, this is part of a paid plan, and you have to kind of upgrade it or remove the logo. That's what I like to do. So just beware of that when you're creating this. But you can create a basic survey completely free of charge. So I've created the survey. I won't show you how to do that, obviously. Once you've created the survey, you want to go to Collect Responses in SurveyMonkey. what you're looking for, no matter what the system is, what you're looking for is the web link, the link that you can send to people, whether you write it on a piece of paper and send it in the post to them, or whether you email it to them, or whether we make that available within the TeamKinetic opportunity. It's a web link that when they click on it, it's going to direct them through to your survey and allow them to fill out that survey. Okay, so when I click on web link here, it comes up and to create a limited collectors upgrade to, oh, thanks. It brings up a web link. It should do, but I've obviously got something in here which, as I just mentioned before, this is part of the paid plan. So there's something in here now. I've been playing around with it, which has added something that's part of the paid plan. But if I click on this web link here, it'll come up and it gives me the web link to the actual survey. So what I'm going to do is highlight that, copy it, and we need to put this in against the actual opportunity, TeamKinetic opportunity. So if I go back into my TeamKinetic system now, this is the pages you should be all familiar with. Go down to my opportunities, go down to the opportunity I'm interested in. So in this one, I want to attach this survey to this opportunity here, the litter picking opportunity. Click on opportunity details. Click on the edit button. Now obviously I've created this opportunity already, so I'm just editing the opportunity. I'm going to show you how you go down to the bottom here, and you've got add a post opportunity survey link. So that has to be, make sure you got, that says yes, and then you put survey link in that field there and click on save changes. Now I'm aware that obviously for speed, I've pre-created this opportunity. You will be going to opportunities and providers, create opportunity, and you'll be, once you filled out the details, you'll be doing it probably as part of the creating the opportunity process. So when you get down here, you'll be saying, let me find the spot, post opportunity options, add post opportunity survey, yes, and you'll be putting it in there when you're creating the opportunity. But like I said, for speed, I've done it, I've already created the opportunity. So we've got a survey that's been created, we've now attached it to the opportunity. So the next thing we need to see is how the volunteer accesses that survey. So to do that, if you go into the login as a volunteer, so you can impersonate the volunteer as I've done here. I'm then going to go to the volunteers front page. It says you've got hours to log. So at this stage, imagine the volunteers join that opportunity. One of the sessions has passed, and which means they can log some hours. So when they go to log their hours, it comes up. Do you want to log your hours? Yes, I do. Put a bit of feedback in. I had a great time. This is obviously not part of the actual survey. This is just a standard page. We say, did they enjoy it, and a short piece of feedback. I had a great time, Steve. Had a great time. Leave feedback and log hours. Log hours. Okay. Now, let's go for that one more time. Log hours. Oh, part maintenance on the wrong opportunity. That's why. Get to the other opportunity. Apologies for that. This to pick him. Log hours. Log hours so far, and litter picking. And at the top, what we have is, so once they've logged their hours, they get a message that appears at the top saying, Steve's Volunteer Centre has asked if you would complete a post opportunity survey. Please follow this link to complete the post opportunity survey. So once I click on the link, hey presto, it opens up the survey that I've created. Now, and the type in here, whoever this person's name is, Joe Blogs, in this particular case. Okay. Yes, I really enjoyed it. Did I find it easy? Yes, I found it easy to get to. Leave that blank. There's no additional information. Feedback. Click on the done, and that's it. That's been logged now. If I go into my Survey Monkey and go to Analyze Results. Okay, we've got one response, Joe Blogs, in here. Okay, so it's as easy as that. That's a straightforward survey. Now, that's obviously quite easy to do, as you've just seen there. Now, there is more kind of complex ways of capturing survey information. So one of the problems you may have is if you're a university, for example, this is kind of going on to scenario 2, I suppose. if you're a university, you may want to capture or get, and you're running a work placement program. So you want to, and every month you want to capture what your volunteers are doing, or capture, if how they're finding their particular work placement. This is something you want to capture every single month, and you want to capture it from a large number of volunteers. So asking for their name as part of the survey is probably not ideal for two reasons. First reason being, it's going to slow down the process. Everyone has to type in their name. And the second reason being, all you're going to end up at the end is a load of responses. You've got their names, that's fine. So you could have captured their names, but the reality is, if there's any typos in there, it's very hard to collate that information together and to try and say, well, Joe Blogs sent off 15 reviews or kind of feedback surveys. Because if there's any typos in there, then there's no way for you, the system doesn't know that they're the same person. So what you need is a more kind of a more robust way to capture the volunteer's name, where it's always going to be the same. And we do that using a thing in SurveyMonkey calls custom variables. We call it ID parameters. Now, I don't want to go into the ins and outs of exactly how this works and kind of demo it, because it is quite complex. I mean, even if you're doing it, just if you read up on it within SurveyMonkey, you'll see it's actually quite straightforward, but it sounds quite complex to set up. But by doing this, what it actually does is it allows you to put in, let's go back to the TeamKinetic system now, it allows you to enter not only the survey link, but enter in what we call a volunteer ID parameter name. So this could be like volunteer ID. What this does is that it automatically copies over the volunteer's name into the survey within SurveyMonkey. So you don't have to ask for the volunteer's name. What it's basically doing is creating a unique web address for each survey that the volunteer clicks on, if that makes sense. So we know who's logged into the system. So what we do is we automatically create a web link for that particular volunteer. So when they click on it, it goes through to SurveyMonkey, and SurveyMonkey says, oh, okay, I realize this is Joe Blogs now. I realize it from the web address you've sent across to me, or you've arrived at, and then we just ask the questions, and at the end of it, SurveyMonkey will actually populate in the names. This is really useful and probably very critical in regards to making sure that the volunteer names are all the same and collecting information over a large period of time. So if you are interested in knowing about that, then let me know. I could demo it to you, but to be honest with you, it'd probably take up the whole half an hour's webinar session. But if you're interested in me demoing it today, then obviously you can drop me an email, and maybe I'll do that at a later date. Otherwise, if you are interested, I would really recommend reading up on custom variables within SurveyMonkey. It may be called something different within other survey applications, or reading our help. If you go to our help section, I'll show you now, under user guide, and just put in questionnaire. I could spell, Steve. Questionnaire. Tracking who has completed a questionnaire. And you've got a section there which gives a little bit of an example. So there's a couple of ways. Read up on those, and then yeah, hopefully you should be able to figure that out. Okay, have we got any questions coming through? No questions coming through as yet. Okay, so next, there is another way you can actually do questionnaires, and that's if you've got. So if you don't want to go through the likes of SurveyMonkey, then what you could do is you could create your own questionnaire on a Word document or on an Excel spreadsheet. You can actually upload that to an opportunity. And this means that a volunteer can then download it. So they've suddenly got this Word document with all your questions in, and then they can re-upload it to the opportunity once they've completed it. So let me show you exactly how that works. So if I go to Opportunities and Providers, down to Opportunities, I've got one here called Park Maintenance. Now, if I edit this opportunity, obviously you'll be doing this when you're actually creating the opportunity, but I've already pre-created one. I've got a document which has been, pardon me, a document which has been added to this opportunity called Steve's Volunteer Questionnaire. Okay, so the way you do this when you're creating the opportunity, you scan down here, you get to the bit that says Files and Documents, upload a new one, and you'd add in your questionnaire or your feedback form or whatever it is. At that stage there, volunteers have access to it. So if I go to the volunteers page, okay, go down to Park Maintenance, which has this particular file attached to it. Okay, see when I go to more details, I have access to this questionnaire. And if I click on this, it would open up the Word document. So the volunteer would then see the opportunity, they've joined the opportunity, they've clicked on the document, opened it, they've filled out the document, and they need to re-upload it now to the opportunity. So once they go to opportunities, down to active opportunities, we've got a button here called upload file. So they click on the upload file, they put in the name, so this is feedback form, probably put in the date as well, 29th of November 2017, my feedback form. Click on the choose file, and then select the feedback form. This is the completed feedback form, and then upload it. Okay, oh, too long. Form. Okay. Slightly too long. It's obviously got a kind of cap on the length. So once that's uploaded, you click on the upload button, and that would upload it then, as it has done now. See here, it's uploaded against the opportunity. And they can do that as many times as they want. So you might have, against an opportunity, you may have a, like I say, a questionnaire or feedback form, and over the period of 12 months, the volunteer could, at any point, any volunteer who joins the opportunity could download that form, complete it, and re-upload it to the opportunity. Now, if it's a review form, like for example, in the scenario we're talking about at a university, it's the same form they're essentially going to, and they're putting in, you know, that month, what the month is, and putting in all the feedback for the things that they've done on that opportunity that particular month, and then they're going to re-upload it again. So click on upload file, they put in form 2. Sorry, put something in here. Use the file here. Come on. And upload it. And now we've got form, and we've got form 2. So you can have a record. Now the admins, it's very easy for you then to go to that opportunity, and you can see exactly all the forms that have been uploaded against the opportunity. So that's the final way you can capture information from your volunteers. Now, I'm running a little bit over time, so I'm a little bit dubious about kind of going into the provider profile pages. Got any questions coming? No questions yet. What I might do, just for this, leave it at that, just for this first TeamKinetic Academy. So moving forward, we're probably going to do this, probably going to a monthly thing that we're going to be running. I'm really interested in getting your feedback on areas that that you're unsure about, or areas you'd like to cover. So if you just if you drop me an email, or send an email through to info@teamkinetic.co.uk, then it will give me an idea of what areas you'd like me to actually focus on. And if you've got any kind of questions pop into your mind over the rest during the day, think, oh, actually, you didn't mention this, or you're trying to replicate one of these scenarios and you're struggling, then obviously feel free to raise a support ticket, or just give us a ring. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. If you have any, like I say, and I look forward to speaking to you this time in